Good morning. This is James Park coming to you with some more interview tips. So if you're heading off to that job interview soon, listen in on this video and hopefully you'll score a couple extra points. Today we're going to talk about a question that was brought to me by a colleague in the industry. He was shooting for a resident manager position, and a board member asked him a question that goes along like this. What would you do if someone in the building, a resident, a shareholder, had scheduled movers to vacate her apartment, so move the stuff out of her apartment on a Sunday without telling you, and she was caught with 90% done and maybe several boxes in the hallway. So basically, would you stop the movers from continuing their work and have the resident schedule or reschedule for another day during the week after their COI has been submitted? A COI is a certificate of insurance that you need from every outside party who comes into your building to do some work. A COI is required from every mover that's going to be working in your building. So the question is, do you stop that work from happening and you have the resident reschedule that appointment for sometime later on during a business day? Or, you know what, it's just a couple boxes. Do you have the movers just finish up that work and call it a day? So this type of question in a job interview setting is called a hypothetical, or hypo for short. And basically what this hypothetical is, it's a fictitious scenario where the interviewer wants to see what you would do in the case of. So it's kind of like a what if question. What would you do in this scenario? And the purpose of this is to kind of gauge how you think on your feet. And they want to see what your thought processes are. These questions can be pretty hard and it can throw you off. There's been times when I've been giving hypotheticals and it's nerve-wracking, right? You're being forced to think on your feet on top of being a little bit nervous and anxious about the interview. And all the questions that you're anticipating, you're now having to brainstorm and think of some solution to this hypothetical, fictitious problem, right? So if you were ever in this situation in a job interview and it's thrown you off, you're not alone. See, the hypothetical is meant to trip you up. Why? Because these questions are purposefully designed to be in the gray area of things. So there's usually not one best perfect answer. It's not like a clear question of, what would you do if, someone dropped a wallet or a wad of cash in front of you and didn't realize it. Obviously you would let them know and, give the money back to them. It's not as clear as that, right? And secondly, there's usually more than one issue involved. So there's more than one approach. There's a moral approach where is this right or is this wrong? There's a professional or competence approach, which is according to industry standards, according to how resident managers or building superintendents normally do things, which is the right way? What's the best approach? So there's going to be a couple different issues involved, and you're going to have to prioritize one approach over the other. So if you're prioritizing one approach, you're going to be doing it at the detriment to the other approach. It's kind of like the question of, is stealing wrong? Well, yeah, stealing is wrong. Well, what if it's medicine that you can't otherwise get or afford for someone who is dying? So, one way or the other, it's a moral dilemma, right? So going back, these questions are supposed to pose dilemmas for you. So it might be a moral versus a professional dilemma. And third, they're supposed to tug at you emotionally. That means that they're supposed to evoke some sort of reaction from you. Maybe it's someone that is trying to flout the rules and try to deceive you. which can make you angry. Maybe it's someone that's offensive and, just makes you angry. But these questions are designed to evoke that emotion, to draw that out of you. And I'll tell you why in a moment, why that's bad. So what's the right answer? The good news is that there is no one right answer. So as I said before, there's not one perfect answer. These are supposed to be dilemmas. And so there's more than one answer to these dilemmas. Because these questions will cover gray areas, there's enough room for you to come up with a creative answer. So if there's different responses for these hypotheticals, what is the interviewer really looking for? The interviewer, when they pose hypotheticals, is looking for three things. They're looking to see that you're able to identify and recognize all of the different issues there. Number two, they're looking to see you reason your way to an answer. And they're looking to see you make a firm judgment call based on your reasoning. And why is this important? Because resident managers set and enforce the building rules and guidelines. So they want to see you stand up and make that hard decision when no one's around or when the situation calls for it. They need someone to confidently make decisions on behalf of the building, especially when it comes to those duties or those policies that resident managers are traditionally set to enforce. So based on these three things that they're looking for, how do you answer these questions? First, keep your emotions out of it. So regardless of what this hypothetical throws in to make you angry, make you nervous, make you feel frustrated, keep that out of it, because emotions often cloud our judgment and our ability to reason. This will help with a clear thinking, a clear analysis of the situation. Next, start listing all the issues that you can identify. Third, start creating a pro and con list. So with each issue, what's a pro and what's a con? For instance, in the case of our hypothetical, you have someone moving on a Sunday without a COI, without a certificate of insurance, just in case any accidents occur. And they've done it without your knowledge and probably in a way to deceive you. And let's look at the other issue. She's almost done, right? She has, 10% more to go in several boxes in the hallway. Now, how long will it take to load them up and get her out of the building? Do you want to prolong this agony or this process, and with it, the opportunity for more accidents to occur by prolonging it? Maybe it's in your best interest just to let it go, right? Just to see if this can be shuffled away quickly and everyone moves on with their Sunday. But on the other hand, if someone slips and falls, if your grandma slips and falls and something happens to her, now you've just created a lot of drama for a Sunday, right? So maybe the extra cost of having her call the movers again with a COI is the best way forward, right? Because now you haven't put yourself in the position of jeopardizing the building and many of its residents for one person, right? So it seems natural to me maybe to take that approach in this hypothetical, or maybe not. Alternatively, in this hypothetical, you could say, let the resident finish up with the moving, and you just place yourself as a monitor to make sure that you're overseeing that work until she's out, to make sure that nothing gets damaged and no one gets hurt. And in a way, there's a saying called, no harm, no foul. So if you're looking at these opposing issues, and I've just pulled two of them up, the first thing you want to do is list them down. So write them down. Secondly, just like I did, write the pros and cons of each approach. Finally, when you're faced with a hypothetical question, choose the answer that has the most positive outcome. So if you have an equal balance on either side, or both issues or all the issues seem to weigh the same, this is what you do. Pick the decision that most helps the building. So be that advocate for the building, because after all, As a superintendent or resident manager, you're an advocate for the building. You represent the building. So take that decision, even if it's hard and even if it's a difficult decision, make that decision that helps the building most. Whichever way that you go, as long as you support it with good reasoning, they both can pass. Look, not every board member or not every interview may like your answer, but you've supported it with reason and you've made a firm decision based on that reason with confidence by keeping your emotions out of it. The key here is with winning hypotheticals, you got to go through a lot of them. You got to practice. Practice makes you identify issues quicker. Practice makes you run through these mental exercises faster and more efficiently. With practice makes perfect. This is James Park. Thank you for listening. Signing off.